Welcome to La Cucina Famiglia. I'm your host, Rich Cirillo, simply translated the Italian family kitchen. Today we're going to cook some dishes from my grandmother Laura Avezzano. She was born in Foggia, Italy, and also cooked some Neapolitan dishes. We're going to start off today with some honeydew melon with some black fig vinaigrette and some prosciutto. We're going to cook some pasta with chickpeas in a garlic basil sauce and some baby eggplant in pomodoro sauce with a little bit of capers with some crostini. Okay, we're going to start with our vinaigrette today. Some pure olive oil, extra virgin. I'd say about a quarter cup. And a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Now when I make my dressings, I always seem to taste them. I don't really measure. It's your personal taste. If you like it a little bit more acidity with the vinegar, then that's totally up to you. But I'm going to give you the basics. So I've used some fig-infused vinegar and some balsamic vinegar, some fresh virgin olive oil. I have a little seasoned salt here that I'm going to season it up with. Some dry oregano. And some brown sugar. Now you want it to be sweet because you're working with melon. And you want the sweetness to come out. Okay, and I also have some basil. A little dry basil. I don't use any fresh garlic because you wouldn't want that on the melon. My grandmother always said, don't use any fresh garlic in your dressings. You're going to whisk that. A little taste. A little bit more olive oil. Now you're going to let this melon, once we cut it, we're going to let it marinate for about 2 hours would be sufficient. And you put some salad greens around, and we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, we're ready to start our melon. Okay, this is a golden honeydew. Just slice it open, and you'll need to seed it. It's got very white flesh, and it's a sweet melon. You don't want any of the seeds. I'm going to cut it into slices. Should be about enough. I'm going to remove the skin. It's kind of an unusual dish. Most people don't put vinaigrette dressings on melon. But my grandmother used to make this all the time. It was always one of our favorites. In fact, we used to try and steal little pieces of prosciutto when she was making it. She'd get mad because she had to put the platter together for the holidays. So all you have to do is cut them in half, place them in the bowl, give it a good turn. You're going to cover it with some plastic wrap, put it in the refrigerator, and I have some already prepared. So we're going to prepare our platter right now. Okay, we're going to dress our platter off with some salad greens. We have some radicchio in here, some romaine. You don't need that much of it. Okay. And our melon right in the center of the platter. Arrange it any way you like. And what happens is the melon is sweet and the vinaigrette is a little tart and salty. So the combination between the sweetness and the salt is incredible on the palate. Okay, spoon a little of your dressing around on the greens. Simply roll your prosciutto up on the sides. I always slice it very, very thin. Now your guests are going to be amazed that you're serving a melon with a salad dressing over it. It's very, very, very unusual. And this comes from the Foggia region of Italy. I'm going to chop some fresh parsley, Italian parsley. Just sprinkle it on top of the melon. And that completes our dish. Prosciutto with melon, honeydew melon, in a black fig vinaigrette. Okay, we're going to start off some extra virgin olive oil. We're going to coat the bottom of the pan. Turn your flame up, get it hot. To that we're going to add some fresh garlic. Now I like a lot of garlic. So I'd say it's about maybe 5, 6 cloves there. Okay, we'll let that heat up and we'll start to have the garlic release some of its flavor into the oil. You don't want to burn it. And we'll put a little red crushed pepper into that. Okay, we're ready for our anchovies. I have 3 anchovy fillets here. I'll start to smash that into the oil. Now they will melt into the oil and into the sauce. It's about 1.5 tablespoons of capers. I use the baby capers, unsalted. It looks like we're ready for our tomatoes. I have 1 can of fresh squeezed tomatoes. I squeeze them by hand. I'll add that in. Incorporate all those ingredients. It smells great already. Now, one thing my grandmother always did, which a lot of people don't do, is to cut the acidity in the tomatoes. She always put a little sugar. The sauce won't be sweet. That's, I guess, about 1.5 tablespoons. And we're going to lightly salt this dish because of the anchovies and the capers. We'll lower our heat to about medium, about a simmer. We'll start our eggplant. We'll let this cook for a little while. Okay, I have 7 to 8 baby eggplants that I cut up here like French fries, as you can see. Okay, that's how you want them sliced. I'll show you how I do that. You want to leave the skin on. Our sauce is cooking. You want that to get pretty thick. Okay, looks like we're ready to fry these up. All right, we're ready to fry the eggplant. You want the oil to be hot, very hot. A few at a time. Our sauce is doing fine. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. We'll see if we need to adjust the seasoning at all. That seems to be fine. Okay, my grandmother actually was raised by nuns. Before her, when her parents came over to the United States, my great-grandfather and great-grandmother, they left my grandmother in a convent with her brother and sister. And they actually didn't get to New York until they were about 13, 14 years old. So they didn't eat a lot in that convent, I guess, but they were well taken care of. And then finally, when they came here, they settled in East New York. And eventually moved to the Bronx, where my grandfather met my grandmother. And the rest is history. They were married and had 3 children. And she was a seamstress. And my grandfather a tailor by trade. So he used to cook some nights and she used to cook others. And they kind of worked together to raise their family. Okay, looks like they're all ready. So I'm going to remove them. I put them on a paper towel so it absorbs some of the oil. And we're going to get ready to add them to our pomodoro sauce. I'm going to pat them down with some paper toweling to absorb some of the oil. We'll add them in here, right into our sauce. Now this can also be used on pasta. Some bucatini or percecelli would do fine. Mix that, turn the heat up a little bit. You can see the tomatoes got very, very thick.